Oh, I almost said Happy Friday. It's very much not Friday. Feels like Friday. Should be Friday. What we got here? All right. Hello. It's ultra bassy to start with. There we go. Hello, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I should move that up a little bit. There we go. Hope you guys are all having a good week so far. And for those that are in America, a short week, hopefully. I have alcohol, which means it's a good day. So every day's a good day, but it's a better day with alcohol. So I am still poking at this. He's being sneak. Texture being goofy there, but and I cannot remember what the progress was on this. Let's see here. I do want to do the reminder. I keep forgetting to do that. I haven't done it in a while. So if there are anybody that has questions with SFM, like how to animate or how to, well, that's a very broad question, but any general, like, or any fairly specific questions on how to do SFM or animation, or wants to see previous stuff I've made, like, but with details or something, whatever. Point of the stream is to help out. So feel free to ask any questions. It's delicious. For now, though. Okay, so it looks like it's gotten this mostly kind of laid out.
Our dumpster.
Oops, it's a little loud. Okay, so this has got the inverted mute.
Our dumpster has arrived.
Oh, okay, so I still have to do some of the lighting and stuff on here, and I don't know exactly what to do for the background. Oh yeah, I was just going to do a forest. Should I set that up now? No. Because that would, the drug trip shot, I want to be able to... I kind of want to poke at that now, though. This sounds like a fun one to do. How would we do this? I can do lighting in two ways. So I'm going to kind of have them like bouncing around or something, but I can either have it where they're darker and lights are going over their head, illuminating different spots, or I can keep them fairly bright so that they're more visible, and then it feels more cartoonish. I think I like the second idea a bit more. Nonetheless, I need to figure out some particles for this. So there's... I think I want an emission particle. I don't want to have them moving. Yeah, I don't need them moving. If anything, if I want to give the perception of moving, other than just streaming particles behind them, I can just slowly shift the camera around them this direction, and maybe turn them with the camera, and that'll at least make it look like the stars are slowly moving past them. I don't want to really have them moving much at all, though. I don't want to have these like zooming by because it's just going to look like speed lines. That's going to be stupid. So we need some kind of like, we need sparkles. So this is going to be partially a particle stream, I guess. Particles are immensely confusing. Campground maybe explains the presence of a dumpster. Yeah, there's like a forest map that I use kind of in default with Rathlow stuff. I don't like jumping into that map until I'm at least a decent ways in, because there's like a part of that map that if I look at, there's like a memory leak or something, and my frame rate drops to like 2 anytime I'm looking at that one specific part, and it's just annoying. So I will stay away from doing that at first. It doesn't really matter because once everything's fully set up, I just kind of plop them in there and they're good. All right, so I do have a couple particles that I have made from scratch. I think there's one like magic power. Yeah, I think it's this one. And then lifting stars. Okay. So being that it's a star particle, if I say that, because it starts at 7 seconds, so if I tell the particle to start at 7 seconds in, that means it's going to start emitting at that point, but I want them already in flight. So because of that, I need to preload it. So I'm going to say start at 3 seconds and then emit for 10. Nope, I'll just do 10 seconds. If you tell it to pre-emit like further back and you have a ton of them that are doing that, it could build up in memory that because there's all these that are starting or earlier. I've had issues with it, so I try to keep it limited on, or so I'm not going too far back and I'm not having the particle continue on in the future too far either. Let's grab our star here then. I'm going to keep the lights off. It's easier to see it. And if you don't see a particle when you first load it, just exit the shot, come back in. It'll usually pop up. So this was originally made for remembrance. And it should fit my needs well, but it probably uses gravity instead of force. Oh, no, maybe. Okay. So there's a couple different ways to make things lift. This was using gravity. And by doing it with a positive number, it means it was technically lifting up. The difference between the turbulent force and gravity is an accelerated force. And I don't know if it's like a 9.8 constant or not. I'm not sure. Are these elements from Gary's mod, or there's a community of SFM elements? So like, there's not many people that do particles, and the people that do, not many of them make like public downloads for stuff, at least not that I know of, because there's definitely people out there, because there's the groups that did like Black Mesa and stuff that definitely know how to. The particle engine from here isn't really any different than the 2004 version. It's maybe some small upgrades, but the engine is essentially the same. So there's got to be people out there that have been doing it for like over a decade. But that also means it's kind of outdated and archaic. I haven't played with the new Source 2 version. I'm guessing it's better. But what I normally do is find pre-existing particles. I load them in, instance them. By instancing them, it basically saves all the elements of a particle to that save file. And then you can modify them all you want without modifying the original. And so I tend to instance a particle from like Dota. Dota has great particles. It's just hard to get the files anymore because I think they were converted a while back to Source 2. But if you take and instance it and then just poke around with the values in it, you can, if you find one that's close to what you want, you can just modify it to fit your need. After I did that for a few years, I at least felt more comfortable making my own. So that's like Remembrance. I did probably about 3/4 to like 4/5 of the particles were modifications of existing, and then a couple of them I did by hand. This is one that I did make by hand, but it is immensely simple. It has really only the properties in there that I fully understand, which are, so I guess I can cover some of the principal particles are interesting, and I at least can cover some of the stuff I understand. So each of these are kind of broken up into different groups. Renderer is basically just saying it's the base property, and it controls a lot of what it does at the beginning. In general, like this, I'm just going to have floating textures coming around. You're going to have render animated sprites. There's not really many to select from. Some of the other ones are render rope. Here, just stopping by to say I love your animation, especially the body stuff. Well, thank you very much. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Render rope is where you can connect a particle between 2 points to kind of create a rope. It doesn't really hang, but it's about connecting like a line between two things. And that can be like electricity effect too and everything. It's pretty useful. I've used that a couple of times. Render models is about doing this essentially, but with 3D models. I always had some damn funny stuff. Comedy is probably my favorite thing to do because it's at least entertaining to make as well. And I don't think I've done any of the other ones here. I haven't done render blobs, screen velocity rotate, sprite trail. Yeah, I haven't really played with the other ones. The main ones I played with are render models and render animated sprites, which is 2D or 3D rendering, and then rope for connecting to. I haven't really touched any of the others. And there are a couple of properties within even this that are important. Don't think there's really any in here that matters. Comedy is hard work. Yes and no. I feel like comedy is probably to me the easiest thing to make, but it's one thing to just make a joke. It's another thing to because a joke isn't just like a punchline or anything. There's so many different elements to it. There's timing. There's ensuring that everybody understands and it's not an inside joke. There's so many different factors to it, but I love that part of it is like figuring out how to make something funny, especially when you already know the whole punchline and everything, and now you're trying to design the joke. That's fun. That's really, really fun. And especially when you can succeed at it. Because I mean, I've had some fall short, but every time you fall short, you just learn and you get better. So I don't think there's any operators on here. Really, it's just bring in a renderer and you're good. My favorite comedy one. I'm not going to be able to click the link, but I've made lots. So an anthology. Hi, I'm Tyler Sparkle. I have to re-upload the video for that. So that was originally audio from a Vine that I recorded at Ciderfest 2014 or 15. Vine went down since then, but I still have the video, and I need to re-upload that at some point because that was fun. But speaking of anthology was a great experience. It was nice being able to be a part of such a large group and be a part of like panel premieres with 1,000 people in a room. It was really fun. It felt like I could contribute a little to get a lot in return, and so that was super, super cool. You never did that part? Yeah, I used to do a lot on Vine. I loved Vine. Twitter basically can do the same things Vine did, but Vine just, its interface and everything just felt really, really good. And I missed that. But the whole story behind Hi, I'm Tyler the Sparkle was Stan made the model of the dolphin that I own one time. And so I wanted to use it for something and trying to find audio to use. And I had this audio of a Vine from Ciderfest where we were down in the main hall of Ciderfest, and there was all these people lined up on the second floor above us looking down that were waiting for autographs in the at the autograph room. And they were all just waiting in line because the sponsors were going first. So they were just standing there, and you could see so many people up there just bored. They paid to go to a convention. They're sitting there for like an hour, and they were really bored. So I was being very loud and funny, or as funny as I could. I was trying to entertain them from below. And so one of those things was making that Vine. And I did get some good laughs from people out of it. And the idea was I had the plush down and I beat it with the dolphin. And so we just made a video out of it. And it turned out pretty funny. Actually, the video turned out way more popular than I ever thought it would have been. But it was fun. So it was a good time, though. Until when it comes to your biz, my favorite will probably always be Linux Management Deep Cover. Well, do know that is still Viva gets all the credit for that idea. That he's the one that basically that video wouldn't exist without Viva's original concept from it. And that video also, no idea how it got as popular as it did. I think the subtitles helped, but that shouldn't have been as popular as it was. It's just plain funny. All of the majority of the jokes in there were based off of his jokes. So again, it was his inspiration that really made it work. It's just funny. It was, and that one actually has a story. So originally, the day that Viva came out with his, I wonder if I still have it. I actually made a version, and I think I might have deleted it. It's on my, nope, I still have it here. Hold on. So this I made the same day. So if you look at the dates, it was the same evening that he made his. I uploaded it, but just as a preview for a joke, because I think I made this on a stream. I can't play the full audio because it's just gonna copyright me, but I just kept putting things on like her arm and on her head, and it was just a stupid joke that I made really, really, really quick, and it just ended up. I let this sit for a very, very long time, and then some people just decided that I should like go and actually make a full thing from it, so I did. But I don't like just copying an idea, so I didn't want to just make a 3D version of what Viva did. I started it out similar to his, but then I tried to deviate over time to go, by the end, a completely different direction. Because otherwise, to me, it would be just trying to take an idea, but I wanted to make it a different idea. It was just a stupid little fun thing to do on the side. And really, that's what we do a lot on the streams. I have so much content that's just like stupid things like that we make here. The whole Lyra Fatale video came from a joke during a stream, and that who's my roommate now, said, you should make a video of this. And so a couple months later we did, and made a whole fully rendered video off of the joke that we made up during the stream. So, regarding particles, though, so the render is the bit that makes or defines kind of how the particle's like base reaction works. Operators are kind of, I guess you would say, are they're values that can change over time on a particle. An initializer are its initial properties, the ones that it starts with. Emitter is how often it emits. Children are if you want to have subparticles, so multiple particles within a particle. Force generators just for adding force, I guess. Constraint I've never really poked at, so I wouldn't be able to get much info on that. You shoot it with a cat, so you're holding a cat. No, I don't like reusing jokes, and I feel like the whole lunar banishment thing was on its own good enough. I don't doing any more from it would playing the joke too much. Like Sideswy was one of those that I thought it was a fun joke. I mean, I made it for the anthology based on an idea from Jay Holler, and then the next anthology I made another one, and then I think I made 4 total. I can't remember. It's 3 or 4. But I feel like if I just kept doing that character more and more, every time you make the character, they lose something. It's when a character first comes out, and like and with MLP first coming out, the first season blew everybody away. But then after, over time, you get a dwindling audience. And so I didn't want to just take the same idea and then keep running with it forever, because I'm just going to get a dwindling audience. I needed to retire one and start something new. That's where I started the Changeling thing. So I'll probably do like 3 or 5 videos with them and then retire them and try to find something new. It's if you can make the magic work on something new once, you can do it again. So that's the idea. Something to learn how to animate so that I can make Soldier, Market Garden. I'm going to change her into Luna. The nice thing about SFM is free. Yeah, it takes time to learn stuff, but it only takes time to make stuff if you care about how it looks. If you want to make it really cheap just to get your idea out there, to take something from your head and make it physical, which is to me an immensely powerful part of SFM, you can do it in a day. It wouldn't look that good, maybe, but you would have it done. And then you can just poke at it over time or something. Sometimes just getting it out of your head is useful. In my opinion, having an insane science of just work is funny. Yeah, no, I love the character, but also the amount of audio that voice actor did for Borderlands is pretty low. Well, none of that voice actor did a ton, but as that character, they did a very little. But everything they did was gold. And all the stuff that's left with the Sideswy character, Dr. Sparra, it's a lot of like bloody, gory stuff. Like, well, not like gory, like scary or anything. It's goofy worded, but it just doesn't work for the character. So I could make more from her, but it would be stretching it, and it just isn't worth it. Saying his computer doesn't meet the requirements. Okay. Well, that's sad. Well, there is other ways to get your outlet. You lose the magic of a creation by beating it to death. Yeah. It's more of every time you make something, the next of it has to be as good or better. Because if you make something amazing and then the next time you under-deliver compared to the first, it's even like, let's say if you just applied numbers to something, let's say that you come out the video and like all people really want is a 5, and then you come out with a 10. Well, if the next one that you make after that in the same scheme of things is a 7, it's still higher than the 5, but because it's not quite where you hit it before, people are going to look at it negatively of, oh, well, the first one was better. And even though all they actually wanted at the beginning was a 5. And so you have to go from a 10 to a 12. And then from there, from a 12 to a 15 and a 15 to an 18. And so that's why in the last Sci-Toy one, I just went with rockets blazing as big as I could so that I, no matter what, would blow all the other ones out of the water and then just end it. So I ended it on a high note instead of letting it whimper. And, which is what it would have been. So some people were like, hire the actor to do something else or use the AI thing to make more. But I'm like, but then you're just beating a dead horse. I can make something else that's just as funny. And so we do the Pinky the Brain thing. And the nice thing with Pinky the Brain is I have way more audio to work with. Way more audio. With Dr. Sparrow, I had this very like couple side missions in pre-sequel. This I have seasons of content. And now they just come out with new ones. So I have tons of stuff to work with. So the beanie doesn't just set a scout. Yes. But yeah, it's, I like building new IPs for stuff. I have tons of ideas. It's just most of them are very long or require copyrighted material. And so it's kind of never going to happen. Like movies, lots of sequels fail because they're trying too hard to top the original, but it's because they have to top the original. If you're doing a trilogy, the second movie can go downhill a little bit. Normally in a trilogy, the second episode of anything is going to be the fall from grace. So you should be well written and well developed, but it's okay to kind of fall because people are expecting the third one then. But when you're just making content, you get to it's like MLP was the same way when people are like, no, they should make more episodes. But if you think about where they were at the beginning, where they were all just friends. And then by the end, they've saved the country multiple times, saved the universe. And like now one of them is an Alicorn and they have all these magical powers and they defeated 3 villains at once. And again, they were trying to one-up themselves. And where do you go from there? You have to go above again. And eventually you're going to get to the point where you're going to be in like Dragon Ball Super, or in like where the original Dragon Ball had a child that could basically just have a strong punch and ended at the end of Dragon Ball Z with destroying the universe. And it's after that, how do you keep one-upping yourself in terms of that? And you have a limit before it gets a little bit pushing it. And so MLP, I think, ended at a great time because it ended on a pretty much a good note. And now they're basically going to start with a new group to where they can start back at that base level again, which is good. Just join. That was an awful lot of enthusiasm about something. Enthusiasm is important. The Pinky in the Brain. Yes. I love those characters. Excuse me if I want to see the universe experience a rapid heat death. But I thought like the whole heat death thing is supposed to last like a super long time. We don't, so no. I do want to try to cover some more than the particle here. So some of the main important things to always have on a particle to make it work is movement basic. Movement basic is, even if it's not going to move, even if like the gravity is 0 and 0 drag and everything, it doesn't matter. Sometimes this doesn't work unless you have this on there. But gravity is just about an accelerating force, and all other movements won't work unless it's on there. So that's good. It's good to have on there. And then you have to have something that indicates how it's positioned. So in this case, I have position within box random. And you can see here it's saying 50 So this is its XYZ coordinates for like the opposite corners, I think. No, it's from the center. So in here it's saying to basically be 50 this way and 50 this way and 50 this way and 50 this way, but 0 height. So this little yellow box is saying that. But if I gave this a, like, say 100 height or 10 height, you can see now it's a box that has some cube dimensions. So it's going to spawn that within this area. But there's also a position within sphere. Sphere is interesting because it has a force that you can have applied to it, and you can change its sphere is actually pretty neat. You can have it position on model, so you can have it attached to a model. It takes a couple extra steps, but that's neat. But if you just need to have an emitting particle in the middle of nothing, whatever, position within box random is what I like going to. The other reason I like position within box random is this: use local space. What that means is that box is attached to the world. So if I rotate the particle like this, you're going to see that it doesn't actually change orientation of the particle. It's going to still stay attached to its world line. But if you put local space on there, check that box, it will then actually rotate its entire world on that axis. If you bend it 45 degrees, it'll now emit from the 45 degrees, which could be useful here because I could use the gravity on this to go upwards, then turn it. I think it still would go upwards, though. I think gravity is still world focused. I can't remember. That's one of those things you need to play with it and hope for, and see how things go. Some of the other ones I have on here, alpha fade and decay and alpha fade and simple. This just makes it so that they fade in and out when they leave. I don't like just fade and decay. I like fade and simple. It makes it a little easier. Lifetime random just says how long do they survive, and this is between 3 to 6 seconds. Color random, they're going to spawn anywhere between this color and this color. That is between. So if you say between red and blue, it's going to pick every color along the way there and randomly assign it. So I like using it for different hues. So like magic isn't just the same color. It's like here it's a little bit of a variation. Oh, blurred. Cheers. I don't have coffee, but I have alcohol, so it's because I'm trying to do the no sugar thing, but I wanted a whiskey Coke, so I got Coke Zero. I think I actually like it more than regular Coke. It's actually really good, and it's apple whiskey. Oh, and this is my glass from it's gonna be hard to see, but it's from come on. You could focus. There we go. From Ciderfest. This was Ciderfest a couple years ago at their music festival. You can actually get these glasses right now. So this is essentially a solo cup, but it's glass. And it is my favorite alcohol cup. But it says music notes. It has some. Where's the pony pictures? Yeah, so it's got some pony pictures on there. You can pick these up right now. I think they're like $8 each. I mean, there's just shipping involved too. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. You don't need to look over there. Come on. There you go. Good camera. See, yeah, it's funny. I actually ordered, I think, 2 more of these. Because I had some, because of my last sponsorship. Only stuff I had these days is earn brew sugar free. I don't really, my thing with going no sugar was to go no artificial sugars too. I wanted to get rid of my sweet tooth. I wanted to have 0 taste or sweet. And I basically hit that point a long time ago. Like, I never have a taste for anything sweet. But to me, soda is because you want something sweet. I really like the taste of Canadian whiskey and Coke. Just not for the sweet, just the actual taste of it. And so this is a really nice mix for that. But I still want to keep away from having sugar stuff, and I'm not a huge fan of artificial sugars either. But I have this whole week off, and this is my 4th day off now, and so it's like I want to have some drinks. So that's what I got it for. Look, so the last one I have in here is alpha random. This is just transparency, just making it so some of them are a little bit dimmer than others. And then twist around axis is what's making it spin around. I actually don't want that for this. So now it'll just have them all going up. Are you going to see they're kind of wobbly? That is turbulent force. So I don't know exactly how this all works. I don't know how a lot of this all works, but I just take guesses and sometimes it works out well. So this is still XYZ. So X, Y, and then Z. So you can see some of these are still going up, and that is because these three still have a Z value. I just took out the main one because otherwise if I do that, it's going to have them really escaping. So this was just to create some kind of variation in how they were moving. So this is where I want to start making these go a direction. So I do want to have a little bit of the variation in here. Let's have. So I want to do this within local space. It'll make this easier. Turbulent. I want to have this be. I need to see how big this is. This is in that artificial sugar. Artificial makes me hallucinate. Nothing like watching Livestream dance around Burger King. This set you off. This stuff. Actually, that sounds like fun. That sounds like a feature. I mean, maybe not for the person undergoing it, but some people would pay for that experience. Okay, that is tiny. Yes, that is not going to work. Let's make that bigger. All right. For one, we need to make this a lot taller. So let's go with like 300. And I'm going to actually split this into two. I want to have this go across the middle. So we're going to do negative 150, 150. And then we're going to have... No, that's fine. I think. Let's see what that does. Now let's increase their size a little bit, which is actually not a value on here. We're going to grab radius random, which is for size. So if you go under system properties, there's radius. This is the size of the particle. Right now it's just defaulting to all or 5. I'm going to change radius random here. So 5 was the default. So we're going to go to like 20 to 60. Ooh, yeah, that's much bigger. Still not tall enough. Let's grab this, make this 250 to 250. And when you change a value, make sure you click out of it, otherwise it does not apply. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work for size. How do you make it work? Poke it with a stick and see what happens. When it comes to particles, that is exactly how I figure out how stuff works. All particles have been trial and error. So it's about change something and see what happens to it. That's what's great about using the pre-existing particles. You find one that works, and then you poke at it. And then when you start learning what certain properties do, it means that when you go to poke at a different one, you'd be like, hey, if I add in color random to this one, maybe it'll let me change the colors. And it does. And you're like, oh, well, that actually worked. And so by poking at a whole bunch of them, you start learning how you can interchange the poking. It sounds weird. And then you'll eventually get to a point where you can take all the things you learn from all that poking and make your own from scratch. Though I still think that's a waste of time. Do not make something from scratch if you can just use something from Dota or use something from Half-Life or something. They put in the effort to make it work and to be stable. Make use of it. Do know that if it's suddenly like, if particles, like this one's not going to do it because of it's not a full random, but if something, when you render it, suddenly goes flying all directions and it's not looking like the preview, it probably means you have like an oscillate property on there. Remove those. Or find another way to go about it. Oscillate doesn't render right. It previews fine, renders like horse crap, and so don't do that if you can help it. So we got our little bottle of stars here. I think that's going to be too many, but we're going to have them moving. So let's add a little bit more variety to its motion here. I don't really care about going down the like numbers that are in here. Usually if you just change the first one, it's good enough. That's fine. Now I need to have the particles go that way. So I'm going to go into my force generator. We're going to say random force. And now we have to play with the values, poke at them to find the direction we want. Okay, so basically the opposite. So I can see it going this way. And if you want to have it go like in a corner direction, you just add it to 2 values. And that actually was not what I wanted. So I would have added to this. And now you see it goes that direction. But you could have it say, go like this. And since it's random, they'll actually kind of both go in both directions. That's kind of like that's trippy. That's like some, like, you put, like, make those little boxes and you have like some super cool text something or other. Oh, I like that. See, accidents. So I want a negative direction though. Well, I want to make sure that's the direction. Nope. Okay, so that was only the visual direction. So let's see if we add it to. Okay, that's the correct direction. There we go. They are not going fast enough though. We need. He's going like Mach 12. Yeah, 1200. There we go. We're going to have some of these go a little faster. Okay, they're still accelerating from 0. This is where one special version of motion probably will come in handy. So the one thing with turbulent force is that it is a force. By being a force, it means that it is applying it consistently. So that's why you see it accelerating as it goes further away. It's not just a speed that is on there. So instead, we're going to remove position within box random. We're going to do position within sphere random. I don't know why, but box and random have a different one property, or have one, each has one property that everyone doesn't have. Position within box random has that local space rotation. This one doesn't, but it says bias and local system, but that doesn't work. But this one has a speed property. So you can actually add motion to it. I don't know why. It's weird. So we're going to do the same thing here. Right now, they're all emitting within the same circle. So we want to say our distance max. We went to like, was it 600? Oh, that's a bit too much. Still a little bit much. Maybe the 300 is fine. That work. Now I know you can play with this a little bit. Okay, so that did not do what I wanted it to. So this is going to be, let's say 101. Close. Ah, okay. So this basically removed one of the axes, so the left and right, and so that's just all spawning within the outside of the circle. Because I said this is 300, 300, it's only spawning in the ring, because it's spawning only at distance 300. If I say 0 to 300, then you'll have it spaced evenly. This actually is interesting if you say negative 300. If I remember right, it prioritizes the middle compared to the outside. It's weird. Again, just things you learn when you poke at it. Sup, friend? Doing pretty good, friend. How is you, cat? I think you can add like a slight number to this. No, we're not going to leave that. Thanks for the host, cat, and thanks for the follow, Nick. Didn't miss anybody else now. Thank you very much. So there we go. So this is now, we need to, I think it's to the left. We need to add some speed. Ooh. We're going Mach 4. Actually, no, we're going to go like, let's go Mach like 1,000. See, that's kind of cool. It makes it look like you're traveling far, but actually it's just a line. See, this is where you poke at these values and you start going like, ooh, I could use this for something. But that's not what I want. We want it to go that way. So how do we control the direction? So let's add that. So this is emitting outwards. Can we get this to go in a direction? This is one of those things where I don't quite know. I think I might actually be stuck unless I change this. I might not be able to make it work with this. It's only a bit outwards. This is again where it's like I'm not 100% sure how some of these work. But the idea is you poke at things long enough and you start figuring it out. Yeah, I might have to use a different way to do this. Let's instead of using actually that one I was okay with. Actually, no, once it's deleted, I don't think I can get it back. That's fine. I don't really need that random motion. Oh, nope, it did work. Okay. Because gravity is going to be an acceleration force again. So let's keep this. Because it's fine. It does what I need it to do. Oh, damn it. I hate when the mouse wheel just doesn't do what I want it to do. Do 1. Oh, no, 1. Particles are stupid and annoying and sometimes just don't work. So when they don't work, delete them. Cry in the corner for a short period of time and then come back and realize that you're never going to succeed at what you're trying to do. Like right now, some of my buttons get broken and I only can fix it by going back into it. Particles. Why do you hate me? Okay, let's add just a little bit more depth to that. Sure. Okay. Can I see Rathalos do something stupid again? I can. Oh yeah, we did the big eyes last time, didn't we? Let's see. If you haven't been on for one of the previous ones, scaling stuff is always fun. Oh, it's in here. No. Yeah, boyga. Where's my boyga? I'm hungry. Hungry. McRattlos. I'm like, I want a number 4 with a Diet Coke. Fear me! I am Rathalos! Wah! King of the skies! Knock, knock, knock. Roar! Roar! Yeah, I'm gonna put it back to normal. Two number 45s. One of the cheese and large. So I guess he's number 45. What's the number 45s? A liter of cola. I mean, one of his teeth is probably as big as a liter of cola. He needs a lot of cola. Though the burps is like blah. That would smell really bad. What are we doing here? E2 lays paper. Laser Purple has issue with particle effects too. It's not just him. Or them. It's anybody. Particles are just. It's because the system is old and archaic, and it has a lot of bugs, and it just is none of them have been fixed. Oh, great. Now let's do it, face. Oh, let me see here. Oh, yes, these are... There we go. There we go. So we got them. And then, and be like, who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who. Bark, bark. I was gonna like do a Queen song, but I couldn't think of the words. That's fine. Can I make their faces big? Yeah, anything bigger and it kind of skips out in there stuff. Oops. Like this is very spook. Like what's it's these who's looking at me? Ooh, it's creepy. So the Rathalos and Rathian models had this like little thing of like I don't know what it was underneath the eye. I don't know why it was there, but it was I think just for details because the eyes I don't think ever turned and moved. I think they were just static. So there we go. So when I did Rathalos, I had to actually go through and modify his texture to remove that, and that was surprisingly hard because these actually have bump maps that run across these, so I had to like recreate all the bump map and everything for the areas that crossed. Because as soon as I started rotating these, you would have seen those different areas, and that just didn't work. So I had to completely redo that, and that was really annoying. What happens to the second eyelid? Yeah, well, so the models are weird. So when you kill a monster in the game, their eyes are closed when they're done, but they don't actually close. They have a pre-made like closed texture that not texture, but like whole model that just goes over the eye. So that looks closed. There's no actual interactivity with that eyelid. Thanks for the follow, Kit. And so I had that issue when working with Toby, because Toby had an actual texture on the eye or a body group that I could turn on that would have it shut. But I can't use that then for blinking. And it wasn't split. So I couldn't just like add bones to make it open and close. It was a static model. So the idea was I could either fully modify the model and everything. Oh, thanks for the follow color. is I could either split it fully and let it work, or I could make my own. So in SFM, I grabbed, it was a silo model. So it was a silo model that only had one side visible, so it was kind of like a semicircle. And I took two of the silo models so that they kind of made a circle on the end of it. It took the texture from that eyelid and pasted it over the bits. The colors were weird, so I recolored them to match more of Toby's color. And then anytime I wanted the eye open, I actually moved these models within Toby's head. Here, I can actually show you. It's kind of stupid how I had to make it work. But it works, and that's the important part. Let's get this one. So in the game, they never actually close their eyes, and I don't think they actually move their eyes. But they never need to, because they're moving around so much you never really notice it. They might have it where those controls are there at the time of them like screaming and doing certain things, but you never see, as far as I know, them open and close. So for him, you'll notice here.
Hey, let me tell you something. Y'all the best.
He has his eyes open and closed. So I do add flexes.
Y'all the best.
So that he has some controls. So like you can actually see here his actual like whole eye socket moves. And that, for Rathalos, is how I did his open and close, was I just took his whole eye bit around it and I just pushed the model down to a closed position. And that worked because of how Rathalos' face is structured. For Toby, it doesn't work because his eye is protruding from his body. For me to completely close everything around that would not work. It's not, his eyes are built to where it is supposed to have like an internal eyelid come up to cover. Well, Rathalos works more like us, at least for my regard, where our skin is always just kind of folded up and pushes down over. So to get him to work, I have these separate models for eyelid. And they are an awning from Left 4 Dead 2, apparently. And so what this is just these really cheap models that come in. You can see here. And the awning itself looks like this. So the eye moving is just that lid thing. But you can tell here that there was a flat bit, a flat part of this that went farther down from this. This is the closest model I could fit to what I needed. So I decided to go with it, and so I had to alpha out this part of the texture. So that part of the model still exists. It's just that the texture is set to transparent, so you can't see it. So when the texture is on there, it's just kind of visible. But normally the eyes are blinking for such a short period of time that this is fine. For some reason, though, the actual texture of the model was like this like red and yellow color, very different from his normal, or what I consider his normal color. And therefore, when he blinked, it stood out. And that didn't work for my tastes. So I instead, when it actually took quite a bit of work to get all the colors to match his, but I completely went and redid it all so that it was close. Maybe not perfect, and there's definitely a texture quality difference, but for how fast the blink is, it's fine. Like when he's actually blinking, all the blur involved and everything, you barely can tell that that's a difference, and then it stands out less. I think it was meant to be where his eyes were the more fleshy, like moldable, non-scale color, which is more like what belly would be. So it's that kind of a red, but it worked. It's a messy solution, and the problem with it is anytime I need to use Toby for anything, then the easiest thing for me to do is to open up an existing file and copy that file, rename it, and then work from that as my base, because then all the models are already attached. Otherwise, I have to like redo all the texture work and everything to get it, or not the texture work, but reapply it to all those models and reattach it again. Not worth the work. So it's some extra steps, but it's fine. But that's what I did for this one. And I think, let me see if oh, there we are. Yeah, so this is what they look like normally. That just didn't fit what I wanted. And this is not fully matching up because it's probably the brow stuff. Actually, even then it still doesn't. Yeah, I'm not sure. It just didn't fit what I wanted. And I didn't want to have him blinking by just changing out a body group and having instantaneously change. So this was my solution. And it works. The one thing I have to still try to figure out, and I haven't figured out yet, is how to get his hair to work correctly. Because it's like this weird laced like look. I can't figure out why. So the actual texture itself has that layering, but when I tried to fix it, it completely changed how all of it looked. Like, I was very confused. So I've been trying to figure out other solutions to his hair issue of like, is there models with other types of hair that I could have where I can just hide that and have that come up through instead. Like, I'm curious here. Let's see if we can get some grass in here. This is where sometimes it's like, does this work? I don't know. But you don't know till you try. So this is maybe a little too thick, and it is also flat, which doesn't really work too well. But let's what happens if I take the grass and we say color and completely remove the green? Oh, it's red. Oh, he's like a YouTuber now. We'll just keep it green. What was the... spikes. Toby not angry. I think it's the texture. So we're just going to take this and we're going to alpha that out. So it's gone. So you can even see here, they kind of added what look like textures on it to make it look like there's kind of hair there. And I bet you they're bump mapped. Yeah, they are. So we'll take this grass and with how this is positioned, we're going to shrink this down to like here. We're going to put it down on this side. And then let's extend these a bit. This is where it's going to get a little interesting. So I think I'm actually just going to take it like this. And then like that. See, this is a bit too even. And I think that would be the issue. Is it looked like he got himself a military cut or something. Actually, with the spines there, I might fix that. Yeah, it still feels a bit too much. I think if I had like tubes of grass, it might work. I'm going to have hobbyist sketch building spaces for random items, and then photograph them, and then Photoshop them into the scene. Headphones, make sure. Great hover engines. Oh yeah, I merge things into other things to make it be another thing all the time. Like the recent one I made for Prince Whatever, some of the machine parts that are inside Sweetie Bot were like just random machine parts. I just jammed it into her. I just looked up tech, found different items that were under tech, and then I just like used them in different spots. When you merge them with other things, you can make it become something or something else. There was a challenge that somebody used to do or did like years ago, and it was a food challenge, and their challenge was to make this like 7-course meal using only the models that were already existing on there without doing any custom models. And like one of the interesting things, ones that I remember somebody did was they took for like drizzle on a cake, they took like a long neck dinosaur and they modified the textures on that dinosaur to be like transparent and gooey like looking, and then like bent the neck around it to make it look like it was oozing off of this cake. And so they used resources that were already available to them without having to custom model something. They just modified some textures and made cake out of a dinosaur. And it's stuff like that I think is fascinating and super useful to be able to know how to do and to play around with, to be able to look outside the box and see not a dragon, but dress or cake frosting. That's just like how your brain can make the connection. It's super, super cool. But it's just experience and time. That's all it is. So it might work that because this might be a little bit too thin of hair, but if I shrink this way down, I can get it down to like this size. The nice thing with this, I'll make sure it's behaving how I want, is I can technically put it in patches. So I can say like, put this one here. And then this one up here. So you can play around with it a bit more. Something like that could work a bit more, but I don't think it's long enough. Hair is stupid. It is really, really hard to make work. I love these grass rounds because they work to where you can make wavy grass work pretty well. I never really worked with it in this kind of a manner before. But it'd be neat to try. But there's probably another model out there that would work better. Last little bit of the drink was a little strong. Oh yeah, particles. So I was going to try. So initializer was that initial value bit, but operator was something over time. So let's see if we can do movement. So movement basic. Not max velocity. Place on ground is actually pretty useful. It will have the models go down whatever amount of value you said. So if whether a little bit or a lot, and it will keep going until it runs into something that is in the map. So if you have a big empty floor of like a rolling hills in a map, not a loaded model, but in the map, you can place this above it and it will take all the trees or all the rocks and it will push them all to the ground until they hit something and they'll stop. Meaning that you can make an entire forest out of by loading models into particles. The problem with that is particles don't always interact with lights correctly. So if you do build a giant forest with particles, the lights might not interact with it the way that you want it to. And you're going to really have to fight with it. It's usually, to me, not worth it. But I have used it before to save me some time. Grammar. But still, that is an option. Models loaded by particles just do, unless you have them ignoring all map lighting, they'd never work right. What is maintain offset? All right. They're doing something. Desired offset. Okay, so they're all flying that direction. Not one I've ever played with. They're running away. Oh, that's actually kind of like disorienting if I look at it wrong. Okay, that is not what I'm looking for. See, I think that doesn't work because of just how the properties work. Is there one? I just wanted to have it start at a consistent speed. I might not be able to make my wish come true, though. I might just, at least not without spending way more time trying to figure this out than I actually want to spend. Make sure it's going the right direction. Nope. I can't see my keyboard, so I'm just guessing on that. All right. So yeah, I'm just going to have to go with this. I do have one little cheat I can kind of do. Well, actually, you know what? No, that still wouldn't work. I don't think I can like pre-accelerate this, can I? No. This, yeah, not that I know of. The nice thing is, though, these particles are all flying from a specific source, and so because I'm going to be sitting right to the side, I can move it over like here. And so these particles are probably using a texture ending in A. Oh, and no Z. Okay. No Z means ignore all models that are in the way. There's usually a version that's not no Z like this, and now the model will stand in its way. Okay. But I just do this, and it basically is kind of working. I'm going to probably have to squeeze that up just a teeny bit. Particles are just change the number. Is it what you want? Not quite. Well, change it a little bit. Is that what you want? No. We'll change it a little bit again. There we go. Now you can't see it coming from below. Now, since it's starting here, it's already pre-accelerated. The one thing to remember with this is it's going to be there's going to be motion blur. So if I pre-render this, something's not right there. That should be super blurred. I'm confused by that, and I'm a little worried. If it's not doing what I intended to do, it means that it might be something's wrong, and then I'm going to work off an incorrect assumption. Whatever, I'll leave it for now. What color do we want our stars to be? Should it be red? No, it should be blue, because it's a blue... It's a blue dumpster. So it needs blue stars. Is there a limit on how many particles effects SFM can handle before crashing? I don't know if there's a limit. The actual particle effect itself has a limit. So, like, if you go to here to max particles, even if you put in 10 billion, it doesn't matter. I think the max you can have is like, it's a few thousand. I think it's either 4, 5, or 8,000. It might be 8,000. I think it's 5,000. I can't remember. That's the maximum amount you can have, which does have issues. So say you have something, so right now this thing emit continuously. So it's just going to keep emitting at whatever speed I tell it to, which is right now 50. Say I put that to 10,000. It would emit so fast it would hit its limit and stop. But then it would just stop emitting. So it would have a huge amount of particles come out at once, then stop emitting. And then as soon as some of the other old ones died because of the lifetime random, more would start being emitted again. So it's important if you have emit continuously or emit noise or anything that has particles being created in some continuous fashion, always put some kind of a lifetime random on there, because otherwise all it is going to do is keep building up. So like if I take this operator and I disable it, okay, so it's going to 50, and that's probably because there's a default lifetime of 1. Yep. Here we go. Oh, so let's just give it a lifetime of 1,000. And so this is just going to keep going up and 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 up. This is the definition of a memory leak. So you don't want to do that. You want to have it with some kind of a limit. Otherwise, it's going to just stop emitting when it hits that limit until it hits 1,000 seconds. And that is no bueno. So, and actually it wasn't even showing. Oh, so it wasn't showing because of a different property. Thanks for the follow, After. And that is, let me turn this back on. So here, so its fade time has a proportion, and so this is saying what portion of its lifetime should it be fading in. And it's so right now it's saying a quarter of its life should be fading in, and then whatever fade out. Because of that, because the time was 1,000 seconds, you couldn't see it because it was fading in over 250 seconds. So it was well past the screen before it even hit an opacity for us to be seeing it. That's another thing. So if you have a lifetime of something you increase by 10 times, you might have to decrease your fade in proportionally. But always have some kind of a lifetime on there if it's going to be emitting continuously. It's just going to be easier. And make sure that you are hitting underneath your max particle count. I do recommend not just setting it to the max particle count and calling it good. I don't know if it allots the memory for that or whatever. It's better practice. And that's not just from a SFM perspective, but just in programming perspective of don't always assign the largest variable for everything to make it easy. Set it to what it's best used for. It's efficient. So in this case, I probably don't even need 1,000 particles. I can probably set this to like 300. And I'm not going to notice a difference because from what I can tell, it died before it ever hit that value. So whatever. The ever stars coming out there, I need them to be more visible. Right now it's set to 10 to 200. So we're going to set this to 175 to 255. 255 is the max. That doesn't. Let's add some extra aperture because I need to have. Oh, those stars are now outside of the aperture range. How do you get blurred because of that? It's not that much of a difference. I guess I can have it clip them. Because again, it doesn't matter. There, now they're kind of visible. think there's let me check. I'm just going to take a guess here. Every now and then there's a version of the texture that has an additive property. I could modify it. Oh, that is not the button I wanted to hit. I can't remember where the star is located. There we go. Where are you? Particle star. If I was a star, I'd probably be in TF2. Nope. And I have a Particles 2.0 folder because there's an update to the game and I didn't want to override in case it broke something, so I just call it 2.0. If it's not that, it could be Half-Life, but that'd be a weird particle. I keep going to particles. Remember. Oh, it has additive on there anyway. So it doesn't matter. Okay. If you need to make it brighter, though, and you can't figure out a good way to do it, just make more than one. It works. In this case, though, it's making visible... Something is being goofy with this, and I'm not trusting what I'm seeing. I'm going to restart SFM. It should have motion blur, and I don't see it, so I'm not 100% sure. I've had it before where there'd be I'm like, why is this acting weird? And then it will crash on me right afterwards because something got broken. Somebody asked my Discord about, can you do a tutorial how to use King Somber magic power because on a project use SFM. There is a particle for that, but it took me a little bit to figure out how to use it properly. I'm doing well, Tool Wrench. How are you doing? Okay, still not showing, but then at least that makes me confident in regards. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to make a lot of stars. Make continuously 50. Let's do 300. This is where it's going to hit that limit and stop. And then spawn some more. And this will start evening out a little bit, but not to quite the amount that I want because it's an uneven spawn ratio. All the ones that spawn died. And then the ones that died the first are going to spawn again, and they're going to be a little bit consistent. But it's not near the rate that I was looking for. So we'll just put this to 3,000, see what our number is. Oh, that was the wrong key. That's fine, because we're going to go to our lifetime random. And we're going to have... So this is going way further than I actually need them to go. So we're going to have this die after 4. Actually, even 4 is too long. Let's go with 1. And then the minimum, we're going to go to 0.25. You know what? The 1's fine. We're going to do that, and then we're going to increase our force. Okay, so I do need to have it. I need to have it go faster, which I'm going to see if that'll work. Okay. Who do you give VIPs to? Is it people who are active or people who are friends with? Just every now and then I'll just go through a list of people that are here the most or have been like over a large period of time, and then I just kind of random assign. All it means is I think like if I locked chat and certain to subscribers only, VIPs can still talk. That's about it. But I only have a certain amount that I can assign VIP. How many people you can have it set as a VIP is based on hitting certain milestones for how many people are talking at once. It's I think when I did the Wrathful stream a month or so ago, because there was a larger influx of people, the amount of people that talked there gave me a couple more. But other than that, yeah, there's a very limited number. Yeah, Blurred's been here for years. So so I gave it to him because I didn't even know it was a thing until like 6 months ago. But yeah, how many you have is there's different achievements that you can achieve on Twitch, and most don't do anything, but a couple of them do unlock stuff. Like hitting certain subscriber milestones unlock more emotes, and hitting certain amounts of concurrent people talking unlocks more VIPs as well. You're not old, man. You're like 10 years younger than me. You shut up. So you have good taste in music, so that is good. I feel like that needs to go still much quicker. It's still the starting speed is what bugs me. So I wish I could like say starting speed or something. I mean, I could. Let's just go balls out. Oops, not that big. Oh, so this is going up. I probably want to go a little less on the up. Down. There we go. Yeah, that's Pepe laugh. You can't just type it. Actually, that's the one thing that's really weird is so on. I think I have it running on the other one. Oh, I don't want that. If I look, oh no, it's on. Oh, the request log. On the request log, for like stupid face or whatever, it has. If you ever write anything, it doesn't show the emote. It writes it in text, and that has messed me up before because I don't know. Some people might not realize the text that it shows up behind it. Because I know like the goofy blurred face, that's Blurred's face because it uses it so much. It just says LMAO, I think, or lol. I think it's lol. But like Pepe face and not Pepe face. PogChamp and stuff like that. I'm just like, what? I love bots reading emotes. Yes, I used to have a friend, a group I used to hang out with, and it was Ventrilo. This is well before Discord, and we'd use Ventrilo for a voice server. And one of the guys we talked with never used a voice chat, and he always used text to speech. And you couldn't do emotes on there, but he would say the meme abbreviations, and so I have it like ingrained in my brain, hearing like Microsoft Anna say like LMAO or LOL, and it was just years where I never heard that guy's voice in my life, but for literally like half a decade of hearing him on a voice chat, just using text to speech, that was his voice. Way back in the day of chat rooms, it took me 6 months before I realized what LOL and LMAO meant. No, I can kind of see that. There's still some that I don't fully understand. Like FML took me. I didn't understand what that meant for a long time. Ruffle, I never under RFOL. I still don't understand that one. That one's stupid. It's like, it's LOL, but it's better or bigger. No. Normally when somebody puts LOL on something, they're staring blank face at the screen, barely even laughing internally. They're just like, LOL. I guess jokes aren't as funny when you're by yourself, but it's weird. It's goofy. Running on the floor laughing. Yeah, I know what it means. And yeah, Rufflecopter. Okay, hopefully explain to them, because I know Ruffle is a lie, yes. What were some other ones? I'm trying to think of, because I'm an internet guy. I don't really keep up on new memes, but I just know memes. And so my niece, she's in like early teens, and seeing the internet from her perspective, I realized how much of the internet I don't understand anymore. I am starting to feel like an old man with internet culture. I feel like I can keep up on it, kind of, but other things about it just confuse the hell out of me. And then don't make any sense anymore. I'm from the Rage comic days. I mean, was anybody here like a part of the internet culture at the time that Rage comics were still being created? Like, I feel that was like a decade ago, not even. And to me, a decade ago, I was mid-20s. So this was like the prime of my meme days. And if you don't even know what Rage comics are, then that really makes me feel old. But Rage comics, thinking old memes, Rage comics, doing the memes where it was the picture placed within the frame with a black border and just white text at the bottom. That was some of my old meme days. I have some memes that I made in that format. What's some of the the old memes with like the raptor thinking and the text on the top and bottom with just a colored background. Every generation has had their own words of pop culture. The internet has just made it worse. Well, I feel like it's one of those things, like when I was younger and I'm listening to my parents' music and I'm like, this is old music, I'm gonna listen to my music. And now I think about my music. And when I was driving, like not when I was driving, but when I was in my parents' car going on like a road trip to my grandma's house or something, my parents putting on the radio and they'd be listening to 60s and 70s and the 90s. Well, that was at that time like 20 to 25 years old. And now the music I listened to when I was growing up is from mid 90s to early 2000s, which is 20 years old. So the music that I saw as oldies when I was growing up is now the same. My music is the same age as that. And it's weird. It just, my brain doesn't comprehend it. It's, and so, but memes are the same way of like, I think that they're still relevant, but just the same as my parents heard the music that was oldies is still relevant. remember some Rage comics when I was really young. I like if I just go into like my I don't have that pictures folder. It'd be I bet you I just have like some Rage comic something here. Here's a picture of Jay Holler. I think I drew that pony. I'm excellent artist. There's gotta be at least one Rage comic here. This is one of my favorite memes of all time, though. It's an old one, but I made it with Rathalos because I like this so much. Maybe I don't. I thought I at least have one. Apparently I don't. Wait, I think I saw this one twice. No, that was that one. Fluffy Taco. I didn't have a Rage one. But I have some online if I were to dig through it. My photo bucket is just an archive of my mid-20s internet time. So like the decade ago. But to me too, a decade ago doesn't feel like that long ago. But when I was like 20s, a decade before was a long time ago. This new character from season 10. I have so much weird crap in this folder. Like I this was an advertisement for some, I think, fidget spinner on some Amazon thing. And it was one of my favorite pictures because it's so bad. I made this one. That was my old Gmod days. That was another Gmod one I made. Well, I made this icon for one of my friends. This is from XCOM, I believe it was. And it was one of the greatest faces. And so I screenshot it and kept it. And he still has that as his icon today. I haven't spoken to him for years. Oh, it's me and a rock. That was probably... 2011. That was 9 years ago. You guys are making me feel old. Why do I have Pedo Bear? I don't even... Oh my god. Some of these were loaded because I needed pictures for certain other things, and so I just threw them in this folder. I don't even remember why I made this. I can't remember why a lot of this is there. This is magic. Oh, yes. You know what this is a reference to? What's this a reference to? It's NCAT. I think Tridashy made that one. Favorite is up with forever a long guy. Yeah, that's like the old meme time. Is that time frame. Oh, this is a gun with triple grenade launcher. It super works. And it also has a pistol for shooting yourself. I don't know. What is this? Oh, it's cursed. That's what it is. Okay, back to back to this. If I were to dig through some of the folders for stuff, I would be finding things that I completely forgot existed. I have some things that are just floating in there for years, and I just never really think to check anymore. See if this doesn't break this. Didn't. Good. So if I have... We're going to extend this dumpster flying. It's like this. It's not going to really change any of the amount of work. What is this? Oh. Okay. So let's just put the dumpster on a flight path. We'll do a 2-second float time. Maybe 1.5. This is 2 seconds technically, but I think 2 seconds fine. Make sure I got that on target. I did. Well, that is a second and a half. Yeah, it's 3 seconds total. All right. Sorry, my keyboard goes underneath my what do you call it? My desk, and so I can't see the top of it, and I have my leg crossed to make it easier, and I apparently can't do crap with that. All right. So this needs to go to there. Need to have even time on this. So we have the top of the move, but we need to go to the bottom. Why is pink bouncing? Why is she behind it? I'm confused. It's fine. It's funnier that way. We'll just leave it. Okay. So this should be floaty. So I am noticing that the one problem with the particles, how I have it set up, is that because of where they are starting, I might have to have it back here. I might have to look into some of the particle things. Maybe you have to have those tongue handle like a dog. Yeah, I'll be getting to that. Right now it's always about doing the hardest stuff first, because if you run into a snag, you have less to fix. Like, so say I have a problem figuring out the particles from this angle and I have to change the angle. Well, if I went and fully animated them, moving the camera might require a difference of animating or how things are positioned. So I'm sticking with the things that I'm not sure about, and then I'll work my way into the things that I know work. And I've done the tongue hanging out before, so I know I can make something like that work. And I probably won't have him do that because that doesn't fit his character. But the Rathians, maybe. The problem is their tongues don't have the flexibility that his has. And so the only way that I made that work last time with Rathians was to use Rathalos' tongue in Rathian's mouth. Yeah, that got lewd. Could be a dependency cycle. I've seen good flag like that. Oh no, it's spawning. It's the location that it's creating itself is at the time of its movement, but it's moving at a fast speed. But when it spawned, it was at a slow speed, so it spawned here in the model moved. I can get it to where it doesn't do that, to where you can lerp it, or I think that's called it, where you can actually lock the particles to follow within the world of the dumpster world. But I like having the lag on it. I just want a faster base speed if I could have that. And that's where some of the difficulties come in. And I'll have to play around with it some more. But right now it's just proof of concept. And if I can get that to work, then it won't be so weirdly shaped. Going in reverse is where you can... Time is weird in SFM. Oh, I gotta extend this. because particles don't really work well backwards, and so that's why it's funny. If you go forward, you can see it do the lag, but if you work backwards, it's straight out, because it's trying to say when I go backwards what it thinks the position would be, and all it knows for position is at that moment. It doesn't like backwards time. So if I go backwards, it looks completely different than if I go forward. Another one that's interesting is if you use set time scale on a clip. So say you actually slow it down by 2. So I had, it was me in the dragon jump. They lock the same, so I'm not sure. Oh, it might be that I just didn't hit it all the way with, yeah. Oh, no, that wasn't just it. They are locked the same. I don't think it's a real thing. I think it's just a visual thing. Because if you notice, the effect is not that much right now, but if I do the preview back and forth, it seems much more exaggerated. There's something else going on. It's SFM. Sometimes things magically manifest out of nothingness. But no, if you time scale like an actual shot, so I did this in one of the Fallout videos way back, like the slow reverse shot, you can actually change the scale of something. So if you change its scale to take 10 times longer, it will extend the shot to 10 times its current length, and everything will run slower. Kind of neat. I mean, you could just drag it and do whatever, but it's nice you can do it numerically. But it can mess with particle timing. So because particles are set to start at specific times, I was trying to have it where a particle that started in a faster version of the shot would then transition to a sudden, where I could just cut the shot at one point, extend the time of that one, and everything would suddenly go slow motion. It actually worked. Everything went slow, but the particles completely jumped. And that was because when I slowed it down, it tried to interpolate a new starting time based on where the shot had been, or it was like the original start time. It broke the start time, and all the particles completely mismatched. And I would have had to like manually go through and readjust them all to figure out the exact frame that they changed over again. And it just wasn't worth it. You can only pre-roll particles so far. And if you pre-roll any further back than that, it just doesn't do anything. So when you slow things down to like 1/10, sometimes that pre-roll of 1 second suddenly becomes 10 seconds, and it can't handle it. So the nice thing is right now, this is a separate bone. Oh no, not that one. This one. That they are not attached to. We got to get them attached to that bone. Okay, that was weird, but okay. Pink one's still doing something weird, but they're there. Now I can not rotate them. You're locked to this one, aren't you? Why are you up there? I mean, you could get the fruit from the tree easier. That's what I was thinking. Oh, there. Okay, I thought it was going to be. Sometimes I've had issues with SFM pop up that are unreversible. So if it happens, it has broke your unedit. Nan errors can pop up with that every now and then, which are an error where sometimes when you're selecting like different things like this, if I were to click this a few times and do some certain things, all the zeros would pop up as NANs, so not a number, and it basically corrupts that whole thing, and sometimes that can't be undone. It's goofy. Okay, well, so they are locked to the dumpster. Why can't I lock them to the other bone? What if I unlock first? Okay, so now it's working. Now I lock it. No, not the save file. It's like that. It makes it so that when the error happens, if I go to Control Z or undo, it actually won't undo it. One of the big ones I actually run into, and this is definitely a glitch, is with overrides. So normally with overrides is where you can add a temporary modification to a model for some purpose. So one of the ways I can actually show this to you is, so let's say that, let's open up this dumpster. I need to make sure it doesn't have a property already on it. Trash dumpster. O2. Okay, it doesn't. So this one doesn't have a bump map attached to it. All the stuff is commented out, so that's fine. So let's say that I wanted to add a bump map to it, but I didn't. Maybe it was a bump map for a scar or something. It was for a specific override texture, so I didn't want to have that bump map affect the actual model. But other versions of the model within the same file aren't going to have this override, which I have had happen. So, for example, in Remembrance, with the cracks that popped up on the bodies of some of the ponies, when they're the statues, I had the textures overridden with a statue texture, but then also like a stone texture. So that was a bump map override. But later on in the shot, I needed them as their normal selves as well. The problem is bump map overrides don't work right, legitimately. So if I were to go to this model and I were to give it an override, let's say I'm going to add a string and I'm going to add bump map. And I add a bump map. So this one might be a bad example because I don't have an actual bump map. Can I just like select some other texture? It might not be set up to work for it. So, but normally, actually, it might sort of work here. Yeah. Okay, so it is kind of working. So, bump maps, when you try to override it, do some extra changing in the background that actually breaks it within your instance. So right now, I added the bump map to it, and then I removed it, but it still doesn't show visible. And if I actually go to these shots, it is also broken. Overriding with bump maps doesn't just do an instance on the override. It will change the model completely across the board. Normally, when you do the override for a bump map, it will actually show up correctly and you'll see your correct bump map. But all the other textures on the same model and all other shots on that same file will suddenly show up with a checkered pattern on it, because it is now looking for a bump map too for some reason. Thanks for the follow, Miji. Do I get to choose the voice impression? Michael is not here. So, I mean, Chicken could, but actually, because actually I forgot to put the chair. Chicken's here, but Michael is not here. He won't be back till next week. So if you do, Chicken will try to do something. Hello, Rock Jackie. So this kind of like permanently broke the bump map in the background. You can fix it by just closing the program or reopening it again, but it is frustrating, especially since as soon as I opened it again with that bump map there and I went to the shot that had that, the override would get put into effect and it would break all the rest again. So renders were difficult. So what I ended up doing to fix that in Remembrance was I made a texture that was a bump map of just pure white. So it was a bump map that did nothing. And I went and put that and applied that to all the versions of Fluttershy or whatever that I needed that didn't have a bump map attached. It worked. It was just a really weird workaround of I had to give it something to look at. So in this case, the only way to fix this would be to, and I can save it. That's fine. And to reopen it. So yeah, so SFM has some glitches that are just unfixable, or that need fixing that are not just about improving features or something. They're literally broken, and that is one of them. But it is a pretty niche situation. Normally, if you're going to do an override on a bump map, you're probably going to do it to all instances of it. It just happened to be in Remembrance that I had a very specific need. See, no, it's fine. Of actually having the same model needed twice with different bump maps. Did you watch Winx Club as a child? I actually do not know what that is. Thanks for the follow, Rock Jackie. Hello, Syrie. There is There is another thing I can try with this. Now that I have a different load file, I can try this again. Nope, still broken. Is it just Pink Rathian? Nope, they are all doing their stretches. Ooh, I might crash it. Excellent. Think drug one model into another. If I do enough complicated of a lock, SFM just goes, nope. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what that show is. I've never actually even heard of it. Any show about fairies. I don't remember. Yeah, nothing I can think of. I might have crashed it. Overly complex locks. Oh, it's not. Oh, an anime-like show. That's fine. I am looking forward to eventually getting a 3000 series NVIDIA card, so I can. That should help improve even some of the performance on here. Surprisingly. Do you break too? Here we go. Look at him. Oh, look. It's giving him like little, oh, where's your head? Oh, I can't even grab your head. Oh, she broke. Imagine that coming at you from over the hill. He's like, ah! He just wants a hug. Look at that. He's got some spread eagle things going on, and she's just coming out his butt. Where's the tail? I think it all got collapsed in like one point. All right. If that doesn't work, there's a secondary one we can try. Okay. So that, oh, these aren't locked to that anymore. Okay, so now, okay, that can rotate. I can rotate. Okay, so I still can't do the... Oh, they're locked to the root. Wait, I did that wrong. No. Okay. Just double check. Rotate fine. Rotate fine. She fine. Okay. So this is going to be the dumpster helper. I'm going to go to sleep now. Bye, chat. Bye, Alexander. Have a good week. Have a good week. All right. So that fixed. Put a dumpster helper up here. Particles. Put that on there. So this is based on... so we're going to grab... So one of these rotations separate. Because now I can go up. Oops. And down. Close enough. Okay. And now that doesn't feel right, so we're going to then shift that a little bit. Oh, that is like not quite the direction I was hoping for. Now I can play with the timing until I can find the one I want. I think that kind of works. Like that. Here. Now they're flying. In a magic dumpster. And I just need to find some, like, really bad, like, or not really bad, but just goofy pixelated song. Like, we can do... This is a fresh restart. Please tell me I have Meatball Parade. I don't. Oh, that's good. That sucks. These first ones are all ones that I added. So, Lady theme. Oh, I used that for some random thing.
Rarity, I'm so sorry.
Let's see here. What is good news? Oh. Yeah, I just added in sound noises for gum chewing. Does this one have travel pass or is it just stop motion? No, it's it had. I can use a graph editor to have a little bit of control of the pathing. I usually build it as stop motion, and then I'll just smooth it out from there. I just the way I prefer and I do things. It's not some of the motions and stuff aren't as sophisticated as Blender or 3ds Max or something, but definitely has its pros in there. Horse conventions.
No.
Oh, that's me. No.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, I was gonna do something from that. Some weird shit here. I'm trying to think what's it? Oh, no, that would be a copyright. Well, that would also be a copyright.
This after
Just put that on there for now. Wait. What we can do? It's kind of close to what I was thinking. I just wanted something more pixelated. It's probably a little quicker than I really need it to be, though. But that's it's something goofy. Macarena, I don't even know why I have some of those loaded. It was back when I didn't care as much about using copyrighted audio stuff. But like I have Edge of Glory in there. That would not just be a content ID. That would actually be a copyright strike on my channel if I use that. That's why I never finished that. And that's why the Rathlow's little short that I put on Twitter of him singing Edge of Glory will never be on YouTube because I would be in big trouble. So never going to happen. Takes to go working with Poser in 3D Max, straight motion passer, fine. Making an anime character walk in an arch like across a bridge was a royal pain. Well, the one, if you wanted to have them in all aspects of the motion in the walk across the bridge like an arc, yes, it would be tough because there's a lot of extra things that you'd have to pay attention to when walking. Nice thing with ponies is being that they are four-legged, you can cheat it a little bit. Like with people, you're going to have to angle all your feet and whatever and have them kind of like lift their legs more to go up and same to go down. With ponies, you can just kind of change the orientation, and for the most part, that'll work. You're going to change it a little bit at the bottom of the arc, but if you play with your camera angles and everything, you could have it where you just never see that transition anyway. So easiest way to deal with those situations is just never put yourself in the situation. In SFM though, in terms of like motion though, so like, I can't load in that, but like if you have a model that you are, say, have moving over time. So if I had just a normal walk cycle, if I was going to put them over an arch, what I would normally do is I would just do this. So from beginning to end of the arch time, I'm going to say, I need to mute that. Like that. I'd find the middle, and this is what I would do for motion editor. I'm probably going to be off on what's middle with that, but I'd find the middle. I would then lift that to match the arc on its positioning. It might depends on the angle, whatever, but I'd get that to match, and then I would select the midpoint of the midpoint here. Or maybe even having to start earlier there, set this to offset, and then this would let me actually rotate to go up. And this would probably be more like that. For the most part, as long as you're not showing their actual hooves in the ground, it would work on my side. It's about working smarter, not harder. I've had to do arcs like this before, not for people walking, but for people being thrown. So I'd probably be going across the same premise. I have done very similar to this, but actually in the graph editor where somebody was running across an uneven surface, and I made the full run bit. Then at certain areas that had a hill, I just pushed it down to where the arc basically matched the hill, and then wherever it needed to, I just rotated their pivot point on that. Thankfully, the retransform, normally you shouldn't be animating by the retransform, but in that case, it was nice because the retransform is at the bottom middle. If I change the positioning at the bottom middle, it just rotates the whole model to match it. It's messy, but again, smarter, not harder. So, good way, Dumpster. All right, but it is 8 o'clock. Didn't really get too much done, but we did get them on their merry way. I probably will animate their heads a little bit to at least do some bobbing with their motions, but other than that, I want to keep them pretty stationary. I don't want to add on breathing or them going whoa or anything. I want to have it be where this is in essence something that you could take like a 6 second. No, this is like a 3 second thing for the top to bottom, like 3 to 6 seconds worth of video and copy paste it, and it would basically be seamless. That's the idea behind it. I don't want to go too far with it. I mean, I could just have like the whole camera like spin around it and like woo. Or zoom in every now and then, and she'd just be like, bark. But I think that would be. Is this what we talked about before about like how writing comedy and doing comedy stuff, and this would be where if I extend too long in this joke, then that becomes the whole video, and the whole intro part means nothing. And what makes the intro part funny is the fact that it ends with something that's so off the wall. But then if I try to add more to that off the wall, it would be just dragging the joke on instead of ending it with just the joke itself. So probably won't. Frank was working on to use a high def image on a Japanese bridge, cut the parts in layers, and have the character walk between the layers. Looked awesome, but lots of work. Yeah, doing it to where it looks the best is always going to be the most work. I brought that up, like I said before, you're going to spend more of your time, or the least. You're going to spend most of your time trying to perfect something, and very little of your time getting it to the presentable point, where you're going to put most of your work into just that last little percentage of quality. But nonetheless, it is past time for today, so I am going to be done. I just saw Temba saying to fuck. But so I will be back on Friday. Probably I'm considering not working on this, being that it's Black Friday, so a lot more people are going to have the day off. I've considered doing another request stream because like I did the highlights video not long ago, kind of showing what we did last time for that. I'm thinking about doing that again. It just depends, because 2 hours of that was exhausting. So we'll see. I want to try to come up with something maybe different. Years ago, we used to do a gaming stream instead, but I still think I want to do something SFM, but I'll need to figure out the details on it. So yeah. Otherwise, have a good Thanksgiving if you're in America. If you're not, have a good week anyway. Enjoy yourself, and yeah. Hello, Trombone. We're ending the stream now. There's always at least one person. Hello. Have a good one. Well, I hope you have a good one as well. Trying to think if there's anything else. Michael will be back next week. He will not be here until Sunday. So, have a good Thanksgiving. Do you guys celebrate anything out there, or is it a blurred, or do you guys or is this just a normal week for you? I know it's a very American-centric viewpoint of saying that the rest of the world needs to have something going on when America does. No, didn't think so. Black Friday, though. Yeah, well, it's Black Friday month. I've only bought one thing. I bought my sister needed an upgrade on her computer because of load time issues, and so I got her like a cheap SSD. and so swap out so that she has a hard drive for loading her games onto. And then eventually later we'll do a full swap so that she can load her operating system on a SSD as well. But for now, just a second drive. I want to get a 3080, but God knows when that's going to happen. What's the other one? I want to do a bunch of upgrades, but nothing I'm going to be able to do right now. And I want to get Mike a mic. So, like, right now I'm using... I can't even get on the stream. Right now I'm using this is a Blue Spark Blackout edition. And I want to get Mike a mic so that he is not just Michael talking over there in the distance, but I want to get another one of these so this is consistent. But I'm so far negative on my finances for the year on YouTube stuff. So hopefully in maybe December, but it might not be January as to when I can afford it. I'm using a Blue Yeti. He has a Blue Yeti, but it's a USB Blue Yeti. And the problem with the USB Blue Yeti is timing. So I had a AT2020 USB and he had a Blue Yeti, and we plugged them in both at the same time, but because it was a digital audio bit, we could never time them together. Even when I played with all the settings to get it perfect, as soon as I restreamed again, the timings would be different, and so it caused an echo. So now I have an XLR mic, and so I want to get him an XLR mic, so then we both are going through the same box, and we're both exactly the same time. And then he could have his own mic. There should be no echo. But because right now I just feel like Mike's over here, and nobody can hear him. So an XLR mic. So if you don't know what XLR is, I don't know what XLR stands for, but it is a analog. It's essentially an analog format of audio. Well, digital before has other issues. Let's see if I can invest in one. Well, and you don't. I'm not saying it, they're nice mics, but if you have something that works, that works. I had a USB mic which worked for me for a while, but because of the dual thing, that got more difficult. So Adam graciously sold me one of his used XLR boxes that has phantom power, because this needs phantom power, and that works, and it works great. He had needed to upgrade, and I'm talking about Adam the Amazing. Yeah, and that's what I want to get him something eventually, but because of the streaming PC that I had to get, and it's for my backup storage and for streaming setup and the other mic setup, I had to eat into my own money, and until I'm back and paid myself back for the money that I'm negative, I have to wait until things go through next month. I think I'm going to be breaking even next month, so it might be another month or so. I don't want to sit in the negative any longer than I need to. So unless something goes on sale for Black Friday for this, then I'll have to grab it right away and then just pay myself back later, but we'll see. But I do want to get him something. Plus, the other thing is Blue Yetis are heavy. They're hefty little mics, and I'm using a Rode 1 right now for my mic, and it's longer so that I can get to me from the back of my desk, and it works great. But my cheaper one that he'd be using, since I don't want to buy another Rode 1, it can't actually hold his Yeti. His Yeti just weighs it down. This is a lot lighter. And the nice thing about the Blue Spark, and the reason I got this one, was another mic that I was looking at that was similar price didn't come with a shock mount, and the mic was half the price, but then the shock mount was the cost of the mic again. It ended up being moot, so instead this one comes with a shock mount. So, and you need a shock mount. Hello, Keithring. Branding soon. But yeah, I want to get him his own mic, but a mic for Mike. So, but yeah, it'll probably be still a little bit before we get there. And it's not just for Mike too; it's for other purposes. So, like if we're was it last New Year's? We had it where we were on a couch and we were playing Jackbox. So everybody here was watching on the TV, but you could all see people. I want to be able to do that again post-COVID. But having a single mic to pick up everybody would not be that great. So having two mics that can pick up everything works a lot better. So I want to kind of do that. Focusrite Scarlett solo kit mic. Sucker is heavy, so I use a pair of cords to spinning it. Yeah, and I do really like this mic. I got this mic because it's a unique look for a mic, and it fit the price range and the quality that I was looking for. Because I didn't want to go super cheap, but I don't want to go super expensive either. So I kind of hit the mid grade on it. But if I'm going to get a mic, the ideas were to get another one of the same thing or to get a dynamic mic, so this is a condenser mic. So this is going to be picking up more audio around, but it's going to pick up everything. A dynamic mic is where you can only pick up the stuff really close to the mic and it's going to lose anything further away from it. It'd be nice to have the option to go back and forth. Problem is it would make it more difficult for Mike because he'd have to always sit right in front of the mic to talk. And I don't want to put that on him. Guitar Center actually filed for bankruptcy. So, if you're gonna, I don't know what that entails or for what, but they did file for bankruptcy like within the last month. You guys sign for now, but later someday. And again, if you're doing a single mic and you're just looking for something that works, a USB mic is fine. Like when I'm on Discord, I still use this. This actually has really good noise cancellation, and then I don't have to worry about like playing around something when I'm just talking with random people online. I don't care about and some of them actually say this sounds better because this only has some filtering through the box, and I do a lot of audio filtering. Like let me see if I can disable the filters on here. Okay. I think I can do this live. So this is currently with all the filters I'm running through OBS. So now this is with all the filters off. So it's going to sound it should sound quite a bit different. There's no compression. There's no noise cancellation. There's no balancing. It's going to peak to hell. So it's just... Yeah, but the main thing is if I get really loud, I'm going to start peaking. Or if I get really quiet, you're probably going to have a lot more difficulty hearing me. Well, compared to if I have all this on, everything's going to be a bit more balanced. Where I can go really quiet and I can go really loud and it's not going to blow it out. So, or it shouldn't. I've been really playing with those settings because I've been going back to previous streams and listening into it being finally like, I peaked actually quite a bit. And so I dropped the settings a little bit. I've thought about getting Michael a lapel mic. Again, not just for Michael, but because it's a useful thing. They're kind of pricey. And then it would be like, okay, Michael's here. You better get hooked up. And I like the idea of having a mic. If anything, I'll get a lapel mic separately, but I don't have anything I need it for right now. I think having these is fine. It's just the money. I can't believe you're about that in the same center microphones. That's one of the many reasons why you're awesome. I had a stream, like, what was it? Like, it was one of the first times I got the camera upgrade that I spent, like, we like on here for 45 minutes afterwards talking about crap. And it's actually speaking about, like, upgrade stuff. I've been waiting for a morning that the sun is out here, and it hasn't been. I actually wanted to record a video for patrons and supporters that I was going to show my setup and like behind the scenes setup, show where I live and everything. And I was going to post that on Patreon. Because I haven't really made any content that's specific for patrons or supporters. A lot of it is like early access stuff, but that's just getting what everybody else gets early. I want to actually do some patron or supporter specific content, and that was one of the first ones I want to try doing. Because I think it'd be fun. People like behind the scenes stuff, especially to me, the people that are on Patreon. A lot of the people that support are the people that really like that kind of stuff. So it's interesting seeing everything from behind this. Because like right now I can't even really move the camera because it's locked into the arm. Like I move my monitor to move the camera. It's on an arm that's connected to the arm of my monitor. Because it was the only place I could put it. But like, and also this looks like everything's really balanced lighting. There's like a super bright light there, and it's like super bright light there, and then like the blue light back there. So. But I actually like the way that everything really turned out. I was hoping it would turn out great, and it actually has turned out really good. Like, I'm very happy with how the quality of everything turned out, and it's really easy. It still takes me an hour to prep for streams, for social media and GIFs and all that, but that's fine. That's part of the shtick. So, but But yeah, more on the mic thing later. I'll figure that. I'm keeping an eye on sales, so that Mike can talk. And once the COVID thing is done, whenever that happens, I have ideas for more group streams that I would want to do. But like I've been trying to come up with ideas for board game streams. So it's not just tabletop simulator, but actual board game streams. Problem is I only have one camera and that require a couple. So whatever, I'll work on that later. So yeah. Okay, that's all I got for now. Everybody have a good week. Behave yourself, don't drink too much. Unless it's coffee, then drink lots and lots of coffee because coffee is delicious. So, all right, see you guys later. Have a kitty, and not just kitty. Actually, you know what? I realized. Yeah, I had the music muted the whole time. I've been listening to music, but you guys haven't. I didn't even think about that till now. Well, sorry about that. But you know what you can get? The mic song. I'll just play that the whole time next time. Oh, that's fine. Audio doesn't record in the background anyway. Thought it was on purpose? No, I just forgot to. I did the YouTube. I'm still looking at the camera. No, it was. I did the YouTube stream on Saturday, and when doing that, I had the audio muted. And I forgot to mute it. I heard the music, so I thought you guys are fine. Just pretend there's music. The melodic, the melody of my voice, the melodic waddle. So, okay. Whatever. Have a good one, guys. See you on Friday.